things. Hey, what's going on, guys? There's glare, so I'm not gonna turn the screen around until we get around the glare and I fix this somehow. Hopefully that gets better. You can see it hitting my face, so hey, Mercury. Long time no talk. Let's wash this. The upside is that I just had the windows tinted on this car. So I was going to ask you everyone's advice. This isn't a car channel, but I talked to a couple people, Mercury and Paul. I considered buying an old Lexus. It's got just under 100,000 miles on it. It's a 95, and it's in nearly mint condition with no issues. That's weird. That's 180. Usually you're actually better off buying them off Amazon or eBay. People are just parked in the middle of the road in a 50-mile-an-hour zone. It's actually easier for me to see everyone's comments when it's facing this way when the sun's out. I considered selling this car, but it's just so damn reliable, I can't. Yeah, so to give you some numbers, it's a 95 LS400. Everything works. New tires. A mechanic bought it in the idea of getting a second one. He already has one. And he said he'll take $3,400 for it. It's white. You can tell it's spent almost its entire life in a garage because it has no clear coat fading, which in Florida is impossible with that unless you're in a garage, unless it's garage kept. You want me to do that? I will do that, but not right now. There's too many people around, including police and stuff. Not that they would really care, but let's save that for the way back. How about we do that? I need to upload another video too. I want to talk about Zach. Remind me. I want to talk about what makes a palm rare and plant theft. So I'll give you guys a little teaser on what will be the next video. Oh, my favorite road. Hey Dylan, what's going on? Sorry, it's a little bit harder to. Let me see if I can't. There we go. So now I don't have the glare issue. Pull this up. This car, the sun visor, it's the felt and it's falling apart. So every time you put it up, a bunch of dust bunnies come down and coat your face. Big snowstorm. Yeah, it is 80 degrees out right now. It's going to be 70 tonight, but then it's going to get, tomorrow will be same high with a low of, it was 84 earlier, but a low of around 57 tomorrow. And then it's going to be chilly for our area, high of 65, low of 46. Yeah, someone stole some, I don't know if you saw that post on Facebook, Zach, but the friend Bill out in the San Diego area had a bunch of palms stolen from his yard around 5:30 in the morning. He actually was able to confront the guy, and the guy they just had words and he walked away, so. Sorry, when it's two lanes like this. Oh, polar, yeah. I mean, I don't know. You guys don't have Winn-Dixie there either. If you're at Chicago, there might be a Winn-Dixie nearby, but Winn-Dixie is pretty much throughout the. Oh, here my phone will actually get brighter if it's in the sun. That's weird. Oh, someone stole one of your yuccas. Wow, 9 people already. Dylan Simon. You changed your YouTube name. Cool. All right. I guess the next thing that's going to happen on this channel is I'm going to get pulled over and you guys get to... Oh, I am concentrating. This guy ahead of me here. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult, but I like it when someone's going much faster than the speed limit because I'll just get behind them and let them get pulled over. Thank you, sir, for going 20 over. Okay, I'll see you later, Zach. Hey, Thomas, what's going on? This whole trip should be in the sunlight, so... Whoa. So that guy's going about 75 and a 50. I'm not going to say how fast I'm going, but I'm going a decent amount over the speed limit, and he's... I don't know why it's weird. It fades out the darker it is, but if it hits the sun, it actually brightens up. Let me just make sure this is charging here. Yep, it's charging. That's kind of cool. This car is actually slightly more comfortable than the Camry. The Camry has you more sat in the seat, like more like sports style. It's not uncomfortable. It's just this thing is like sitting on 2 sofa seats, and the steering is like a Cadillac, so you can just kind of like move the steering wheel a few inches back and forth, and nothing really happens. I mean, a little bit happens, but this one is the phone. Oh, okay, so the computer and the phone have 2 different... I got you. One downside of taking this road is what is going on. Is this guy turning here? There's nothing here. Oh, there's a road here. I thought it was just a dirt road. So we're still in Cape Coral technically, and I've been on the road already for about 15 minutes. Cape Coral isn't like a mass. It's large, and it's actually the second largest city by geographical area other than Jacksonville, because Jacksonville encompasses all of Duval County. It's actually the largest city in the U.S. as far as area goes. So, saying what the largest city is kind of difficult in Florida because cities kind of mingle together, but geographically, Cape Coral is quite like it could take me, especially this time of day, it could take me 45 minutes to drive all the way to the southeast point of the Cape. I don't know what it is about this car. I just love it. But yeah, so I'll do a video on plant. There's only 7 people watching, but yeah. Oh, are there? Okay, that would make sense. I could see it being like the entire. I forget they call them like not a province, but they're not a county either. Those large areas in the north and stuff. So I've had I've had countless friends in California lose plants to theft, whether they're palms or cycads or a mixture of both. I've had a few people lose plants here in Florida. What happened here? Oh, hello. This lady's just walking her dog like she probably just wrecked her car. She's like, well, at least I'm gonna go home with the dog. So I don't put ID tags in my plants anymore. And if you notice any of the community pots I have, because for two reasons. One is I just don't really need to unless it's absolutely like if there's two plants that look almost identical, and two, so people don't know what they're looking at, and there's less of an incentive to try and steal. And I make it well known, that I don't put tags in the pots because I don't need to know what I already know what they are. I'll tag them if I sell them, but before that, no one else really needs to know. And I have had my that was a nice transition. I have had my my yard robbed of plants. I've had my nursery robbed of plants, although I know who did it. I mean, took a couple of nicer plants. Hey, Eric, what's going on? I didn't get back to you on text, did I? The problem is I drive and I get a text and I forget it auto replies, so it shows it as having been replied to, but I realize that it hasn't really been replied to. And then I get a ton of texts in the evening from like DoorDash and stuff, and then that pushes all the texts down so I don't see them because they use all these like randomly generated numbers. So yeah, bailiffs. What is that? Is that a type of thief up there? I'm just headed to Venice to see my sister and my mom. I was gonna go look at. My dad's all into. You owe money. You owe money to what, the British mob? Or I've seen some documentaries on some British mobsters. They look like they've been through like about 10 rounds of Muhammad Ali, like 4 days a week. Child mate. Oh, Ice gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, that's a. I don't know. I don't really understand the way it works in the U.S. As far as I know, is you don't pay child's like support or whatever. They will take away your driver's license. They'll garnish your wages. It's really hard to go get a job. So let's say Ashley's ex-husband wasn't paying his child support, and they took his license. How's he supposed to get to work to go pay? A house each. Oh, hey, Mugger Muffins boy. Yeah, I'm sure Canada. I'm sure it's all pretty similar as far as the way, but sorry, when I go to Florida, I just dig up palm seedlings that are going to be weed whacked. No, it's not stealing. I have probably done worse than that. I've never dug up someone's plants, like, of any significant size, but I've trimmed some plumerias off just because I like the colors, but they needed trimming anyway. They got a free trimming from me, so I don't know why they would want to complain. It really depends on where the plant is. If it's obviously in someone's yard and it's rare and it's nice, obviously someone takes care of it. Yeah, it's stealing. But if it's just a seedling that's kind of grown up out of nowhere, then then, you know, that's free game. Oh, how are the plumerias growing for my sister? I don't know. She planted it somewhere in the backyard. And I don't go in the backyard because it's like a minefield of dog poop. But I imagine they're being well fertilized. Usually this time of year, not a whole lot happens. Oh, here we go. See you guys can see this cop car up here. That's what we call a fake cop. They plant a car in the road. There's no one in it. Just sitting there. Like a $25,000 car just sitting in the road. People will tap on their brakes. That's well portioned money right there. Just get a cardboard cutout of a car. Yeah, when you dig up seedlings of sables, make sure you get like every single root because they can get very finicky when they are. If they're more than a couple leaves, there's a good chance they're not going to make it. You want to get the smaller ones. Yeah, having a skirt. Nah, they always have a car planted somewhere between here and Punta Gorda on this road. I mean, I don't even tap on the brakes because one, I'm not going fast enough, but two, there's just no reason to. There's no one there. I'd like to get around this guy, but I don't have the power that the Camry has. Like I think there's 200 horsepower in this car, which is not, a good amount, but it weighs more, and it's over 100 horsepower less than the Camry. So I think last time I passed one right here. Actually, that's all right. It's a few minutes difference. And I don't need to die to get to where I'm going a few minutes earlier. Some crazy, yeah, 26 degrees. So that's going to be, Miami is right around 26. Yeah, I think I think that Dade County and Broward County are actually separated by the 26 degree marker. I could be wrong about that. In Cape Coral is 26.3 needles now. Oh, it germinated from the seed? Yeah, Cape Coral's right at 26.8, something like that. Yeah, if you just go deep enough. You gotta go deep, you gotta go like balls deep. This is the reason why I put the YouTube setting on, not suitable for children. Xantheria, those are nice. Yeah, those are slow growing plants. A couple Xantherias will grow here, but not many. Dasylirian Wheeleri grows here really well, which is surprising. It's a really cool plant. I've considered growing some, but oh, you got the news, Dylan? Yeah. So for those of you who want to follow my sister and Alan, my sister, I kind of, my sister is about 4 months pregnant, maybe a little bit more, 4.5 now, close to 5. And I didn't know for a little while. I kind of had an idea in December, but when they went to Las Vegas, they got brutally sick, like for weeks. And Lacey never gets sick. She's like she works at a pharmacy, so she sees sick people all the time and still. But she was like, they got like a violent stomach flu, and Alan got it too. And then at New Year's Eve, I asked them if they were going out to a party. I said, do you guys want me to pick you up? Because it's a long story of what happened to me on New Year's Eve, but I was like, do you want me to pick you up, whenever you're done? She's like, Alan said, yeah, I don't think Lacey's going to drink. And I was like, that seems very weird. And there's only a few reasons why you wouldn't drink. And they're usually related to, medical issues or situations, I should say. I do, Simon. I was a big fan of Sublime. I actually saw after the lead singer died right when they became really popular. So I actually saw what was left of them called the Long Beach All Stars. I saw them in Fort Lauderdale in like 2002. Very cool show. Lots of marijuana cigarettes being passed around. A foot of snow. Jesus. Last time I saw a foot of snow was in 2000, winter 2004. But yeah, Sublime, I with the interesting. So you guys did get snow there? Because I remember some seasons we wouldn't get any snow in Richmond, and it's even more uncommon. I mean, it happens usually like once a year, but nothing that would stick. And I remember the winter of '96, which is probably older than many of you guys are, but we got a foot of snow and we had no school for a week, and we were sledding the entire week. I mean, we were pretty brutal back then. Have like try and like punch each other off the sleds and stuff, and I mean we were going down some pretty steep hills too. It wasn't like we're going 5 miles an hour. 6 inches. Yeah, see you later, Bugger Muffins boy. I'm on season 5 of Shameless now, and I've come to love Chicago in all its glory. Yeah, I mean, this winter we had, some cold weather. It reminds me, I remember a winter like this back in, like, I think 05, winter of 06, second winter that I was here. So I came in April of 04, so I missed winter of 04. You're finally in Punta Gorda, which just means Fat Point in Spanish. This is actually one of the oldest towns in Southwest Florida, if not the oldest. Well, if you count Tampa, it's not the oldest. But yeah, I would love to see the Shameless house. I don't know, and I just like Ashley's like mad at me because I don't ever do anything but watch that show when I'm not doing anything else like working. So -40, that's Celsius. How? That's like, isn't that like -20 Fahrenheit at least? Come on. Oh, you're from Ontario too. You got to go in one lane or the other, sir. Oh, it's Michigan. Never mind. Their plates look similar. Oh, it's both -40 Fahrenheit and Celsius. That's it. I remember that negative. If you do the calculations, it comes out to the same number. Okay. Because it's Fahrenheit is 9/5 plus 32. Has no. Yeah. So a lot of cities, and that's a good question, Dylan, because there's a lot of cities in Florida that just don't have skyscrapers, but not many large buildings, like tall buildings, more than like 5-6 stories. But they have a lot of people, and it really comes down to the way that the town was built. And so like Cape Coral, Northport, Lehigh Acres, what else? There's some other towns on the West Coast, but also like areas like Weston and the Fort Lauderdale area, Miami Lakes. A lot of these were all developed by like the same developer, and the idea was that it was more for like retirement / suburban living, and getting permits to build tall buildings like really wasn't a priority or really necessary, because there's no like business. There's really like a very small business center to Cape Coral. Everyone who works and lives in Cape Coral works in Fort Myers. Fort Myers has some taller buildings. They're not tall. They're probably like, maybe 10 stories. There's a couple of condos that Ashley delivered some stuff on the 32nd floor of one condo. And, yeah. So, surprisingly decent trip so far. Watch it get terrible in Port Charlotte. Yeah, that's really why a lot of towns that have a decent population don't have any. Like Sarasota has some, some, nothing like Chicago, but it's got 20, 30-story buildings. Maybe not 30, but 20-story buildings. The Weston is probably like 25 stories. The tallest buildings are actually the condos on the water, so. Yeah, Mississippians, I've never seen one with any trunk in Florida. I tried growing them up to like a 7 gallon, but they just, all it takes is like a really wet summer or humid summer, like overly humid summer. Come on, dude, really? And my horn isn't even fucking working. It's like some fucking crack whore. All right, sorry. I get really mad when someone just cuts me off. She's like sweating and it just makes me mad when people do that. My horn isn't working. I don't know if you could hear me try and hit my horn, but all right, see you later, Eric. Yeah, Cape Coral really is just like there's single multi-family unit housing. So what you're going to get is a lot of like single family homes, duplexes, and there isn't like a high density housing or or a lot of commercial. What is that? Just no. These people don't even know where they're going. They're just guessing at this point. Destination Power Sports. Those guys are rip-off artists. They tried to get me to buy a motorcycle at 18% interest, and my credit was fine. I don't understand. Oh no, this is the Avalon. This car is 21 years old, if 22 years old. I think I've actually... The contact is bad. I can get it. I can fix it. Let me see. I'm going to keep on hitting it until it works. There we go. Now it works. Whoops. My bad. You got to hit it right in the center. See the whole middle of the steering wheel, except for like the steering wheel is just one big circle with two spokes, and the rest of it's just the horn and the airbag. So back in the day, the horn, is mechanical. Like you hit two contacts. Nowadays, I don't think that's that way. I think it's more electrical. It feels the impulse of but it's like a spring. Like you push it in, and that can get worn after time. Oh, please don't tell me this is gonna. Don't do this. Give me a second, guys, while I make sure someone can just sideswipe me. Yeah, I know. Have they gone down? I haven't even checked. Wawa actually, they're like, listen, we're going to send you a replacement credit card because we had our data breach. It's probably why their shares are down because of a data breach, I can imagine. Yeah, the guy, I don't know why he offered me that, but I went up to Venice to get the bike I really wanted, and it was like 3.9%. I just don't understand why they were trying to sell it to me. They don't sell just one brand, they sell everything, which can be useful, but Venice, South County Honda, which is where it's like we're in Venice motorcycles, Honda motorcycles. They're a family-owned business. They're really nice people. And yeah, I was gonna talk about the coronavirus. When it first came about, I was really concerned because so much was not known about the virus, and I'm still concerned. But the thing about, as far as it being in the U.S. and Canada, really, wow, there's those condos. They're up to 3 or 4 floors now. The U.S. has taken some pretty extreme measures to make sure it doesn't come in. The hard part will be continually monitoring other countries that have issues like Italy, South Korea, and like Singapore, and Iran, and making sure that they screen passengers from those places too, because that's how it's going to get in. It's going to come into, if it comes into the U.S. and becomes an epidemic in the U.S., it's going to come into the back door, meaning a country that hasn't been banned from having flights, although we have already started, I think, canceling flights from South Korea. And it seems like most of this is from some weird cult group. And Italy and Europe will face an issue because of well, the UK is lucky because it can kind of just basically just ban people from like showing up at the because of the seaport. Yeah, it's serious. I mean, the upsides are, yeah. The problem is that it becomes an economic issue, but more importantly, it being a medical issue, and the medical part of it really is that it they're determined a fatality rate of somewhere around 2 to 3%, more like 2.5%, and it is more people with pre-existing conditions, compromised immune systems, so like the elderly, I mean, I'm not telling you, probably telling you stuff you already know, but let me pop this soda here. Yeah, and I think that the way that young doctors have died from it is the fact that they've been exposed to such a high viral load of the virus early on. The whistleblower that died, that made me a little bit concerned, considering he's 34 years old and probably in good shape. He may have contracted a more like, a high viral load of the virus and didn't use any protection back in the, early on, and just succumbed to it. I don't know how that works. I'm not a doctor, but it seems like with medical care that it's, a 4 out of 5 people experience mild to no symptoms, which is promising for, most people. I'm concerned about my parents. Since my mom is 67, my dad is 68. Yeah, I'm trying to making sure it's 69. Yeah, he was only 34, and I mean, he was an ophthalmologist. He wasn't like a medical doctor. So I'm not saying that he doesn't know about like medicine, but he may not have known like what he was getting himself into when he was trying to treat. Maybe he was exposing himself so badly. I don't know if it affects. There's this Jeep again, just driving around like a fucking maniac. I'm not going to say who's driving in that Jeep, but it's pretty stereotypical of the type of person that drives like that. Yeah, so I mean, my concern is really just like it coming in through South Korea, Italy. We don't really have any business with Iran, so that's not really a concern. But how it got to Iran is interesting, because Iran is really not a country that a lot of people go to visit. It's not shut off from the rest of the world, but it's fairly, people don't usually go to Iran on vacation. And Iran being a Muslim country and China being non-religious, a lot of Chinese don't go there. But somehow it got there, and all it takes is someone with a high viral load, super spreader, and Iran's medical system isn't going to be as good as, say, a first world country. So I think it's promising that no one in the U.S. or Canada that has been treated in the U.S. or Canada has died from the virus. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anyone. I haven't seen anyone even with a mask on. I'm hoping that with the warmer weather that it will start to kind of like calm down. I mean, I'm trying to be optimistic about it. I was very concerned in the beginning because you don't know the fatality rate. You didn't know if it was gonna, if you go to the really good site to go and see what's going on is go to worldometers.info. It's like worldometers.info. It'll give you how the virus is spreading on a logarithmic scale to seeing how well it's sustaining itself. And if you look at the overall numbers, they are, they're kind of plateauing. And the best thing you can hope is that like South Korea and Italy are pretty diligent. They're first world countries that have good medical systems, and just hope that they can control it through I guess, use of force if they have to. But the concern is that the EU has open borders, so if someone decides to go, from Milan, decides to go to France, and I know France's experience. I talked to someone in France today about how they felt. They said people are pretty concerned. I think people here feel like talking about it is like it's okay, but if you talk about it, you're a little bit paranoid. At least down in Florida. So I'll tell you this: if it shows up in a large scale in Florida, like, I'm not leaving the house. Well, I will leave the house for certain things, like to go see my mom and stuff, but yeah, and I've seen people with masks on, like in like casinos, because I mean, if you think about it, the places where stuff spreads, it's going to be, well, high density housing, like high rise apartments, cruise ships, which is obvious, commercial centers, stadiums here, but it's all spread out, which is better if you, don't want to get a virus. Your actual interaction with people can be very minimal, even though you're around a lot of people. Yeah, cigarettes. Yeah, cigarettes can definitely spread germs. Speaking of that. Ooh, that is a delicious flavor. It's a brand new one I haven't tried yet. That's a peach mango. Yeah, you just want to keep your hands out of your mouth, your eyes, your nose. Don't put your fingers in your butt. Don't put anything in your butt. In fact, just keep, it wasn't meant for that. I mean, if you really want to, I mean, I'm not going to judge you. I'm just saying if it helps with. I actually do have a mango tree in the backyard. I haven't seen how many mangoes are on it. It was a weird year because it was kind of warm. Mango's actually like a little bit of a cool season. not in the butt if you don't want, if you're gonna put something in the butt, you gotta clean it first. Don't put dirty objects just don't put any dirty objects in any orifices in your body. Hey, Clyde, what's going on? We were headed to Venice. I saw your message on Facebook, and I was gonna click on it, and then I didn't, and then I saw it was there, and I sorry to get back to you. Yeah, I know they're native to, their scientific name is Mandaria. I don't know if they're native to Australia. They could be. I know that they've been cultivated like in Vietnam, and they've naturalized there. There's actually I have a Kerry mango. And I think it's pretty much mature. It has a ton of flowers on it. Plays that. Mangoes grow in surprisingly cooler areas than I thought. I've seen some mangoes as far north as like colder, like north of Tampa. They'll grow in Orlando just fine. So. Sorry, man. I actually found out why the connection was bad the past time. I guess Verizon is redoing the towers for 5G, and as a result, the bandwidth is lower than it normally is. So hopefully that's over soon. It's a Virginia plate. Yeah, I think they can take down to about 20 Fahrenheit, or about negative 10 Celsius. No, 9 Celsius. Whenever I see a Lexus LS, all I can think about is the one I'm thinking about. It's like a tank. It's like it's not fast. I don't think it's even as fast as this thing is. But Yeah, you'd be surprised. After a while, you would eventually get tired of mangoes. I mean, there's a mango tree just across this little canal from my friend's house in St. Pete, and it's in a park. If you want to go there, I can give you guys the name of the park. It's like 80 feet wide and maybe like 60 feet tall. It's got I'm sure it produces thousands of mangoes. People go there during mango season, just like start picking with like these massive cherry pickers. Some mulberry trees. That's for the yard in here or up in Chicago. Did pretty good with the lights here in Port Charlotte. Come on. Yeah. Santa Catarina. Yeah, so I'll tell you the story of Santa Catarina, Queens. So Santa Catarina is a state in Brazil that is a little bit cooler than it's the coldest habitat that queens naturally grow in. They call them silver queens because their crown has sort of like a silvery hue to it more so than the rest of the queens. They're not very robust and they're slower growing. From what I've noticed, they aren't any cold hardier than like really robust queens. If you get a really healthy queen growing, like established in the ground, it's probably going to be as cold hardy as a Santa Catarina queens. I mean, but nice. Oh, let me see. Yeah, 30 Celsius is okay for those. They do almost all Syagrus and Butea experience high heat during the summer times. They're kind of like a subtropical version of like the Caribbean palms. It's a lot like our summers, even if you're up, unless you're in maritime areas, but like a Midwestern summer or Southeastern summer. It's like a wet, dry, subtropical thing going on. This is where the reconnections things happen. I apologize. Oh wow, what's going on here? What is going on here? 55. Sorry guys, that was a phone call I had to take. Let us go. Not speed, but let's go faster than where we're going right now. Thanks for those who will continue watching. Oh, there's a 5.0 for sale over there. Oh man, like I need another fast car in my life. Anyone still here? Yeah, sorry, man. That was trying to finalize some stuff. When they traded in my car, they didn't pay it off completely. So the person got back to me about it. It's just weird. I've never seen it happen before, but for Brownsville, for a vacation home. Do you know that Brownsville really isn't like, unless you're on South Padre Island, Brownsville is not like the safest place to live, right? But for Brownsville, it's going to be a lot like Tampa. They have nearly identical climates. Brownsville's a little bit drier and a little bit hotter at times. Yeah, Brownsville's a pretty dangerous town. I mean, it's not like dangerous like Chirac dangerous, but there's a lot of there's a decent amount of violent crime in the Rio Grande, the RGV area they call it, Rio Grande Valley. You have Weslaco, McAllen, and Brownsville. Like I've been down there. It's not really like, I mean, there are nice areas, and I've been to some very nice houses in Brownsville, but it's kind of known for its. I got here much faster than I thought I would. All right, let's do this. Get out of my way, BMW. God, why are all BMW drivers really stupid and annoying? Sorry, that's a really bad stereotype, but I need to put my regular glasses on. That sounds really familiar. That's the north end of the Rio Grande Valley, I think. Like north of Brownsville. I could be wrong. I probably am. Oh, it is right. Okay. I think I've been through that town. What I didn't like about going to Brownsville is that I got stopped on the way back by Border Patrol, and they yanked my door open and it had a dog sniff around. I don't like those non-border Border Patrol checkpoints. There it is. Yeah, it's like kind of right off the 77. Downtown Corpus Christi is pretty sketchy looking. I stayed in like the island between the Barrier Island and downtown for a night in Corpus Christi. Yeah, the checkpoint's just south of Corpus Christi, and I got pulled over by Border Patrol again, right along the Rio Grande border there, and they're asking like what are we doing there and stuff, and I was like, listen, is this not, are we not allowed to be here? He's like, no, you're allowed to be here, just why would you want to be here? I'm like, well, we're from Florida, like we've never been here before, I'm curious. He kind of gave us the idea that it wasn't safe to be there. I'm like, listen, dude, I'm in a quad cab pickup, supercharged four-wheel drive. If someone rolls up on us, we're just gonna run over whatever we need to get out of there. Well, I gotta switch out my sunglasses so I can do my regular glasses here. Yeah, I know it can get well over 100 there in the summer. Sorry guys about that delay. I had to take that call from my sister. She's kind of running out of time for a car. And also they haven't paid off my car loan completely, so kind of had to give them a hard time about that. I knew I was going to get a phone call this time, like, because it's February 25th. They know that I was interested in a car. They're usually desperate this time of the month. Yeah, out there in the like off the coast, I'm sure it gets over 100 quite a bit. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm the one that left, or I paused it at least. I considered not taking it, but considering this person apparently is not around that much, I wanted to, okay, let's go. God, this is the problem with Venice. No one wants to go. No one drives even remotely close to the speed limit. There you go. You got your foot on the gas. God, it's awesome. I'm learning. Okay, sounds good. Send me a thumbnail. I'll put it on. So hopefully I will get to my sister's right around when she gets home. Hopefully. Yeah, once you get really just along the coast there, when you get about 30 to 50 miles inland, that's when it starts becoming like semi-arid. Brownsville's barely in the humid subtropical category. Yeah, I don't think Live PD rolls up in Venice. There's the only things you would see is like elderly drunk people. Come on, God, why are we doing this to each other? That's it. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm getting an open lane. I need to get going to where I'm going. Look at. I respect my elders, but not when they're driving slow enough to make me age. Your dad used to live in Sarasota? At the big box stores, they don't really sell live oaks. It's mostly, they don't really sell trees at all. They mostly sell just like tropicals, like bananas, palms, bromeliads, orchids. There's a few, I mean, there's some citrus trees and stuff, but people, I mean, and some bushes, but like larger trees, you don't see that. Come on. Getting edgy here. I really got to go to the bathroom for my reason. I'm getting edgy. Finally. And this guy decides to go in the green. He was sitting there for like 30 seconds. The fastest growing coconut, the taller varieties are going to grow faster, but they're also going to fruit. They're all going to fruit around the same age as far as years. But as far as like you want to get some height on a coconut, you want a tall variety. And this another fake police center. Oh look, it's got red and blue lights. It must be police. Okay, yeah. It's important to know that you need a male and a female for a certain species. They're in 5 gallons and they're flowering. That's impressive. Are they silver variety or are they normal green? Oh, they are silver variety. Or they're in 5 gallons. They must be pretty rooted out there. Regular. Yeah, they can still do that. It's just that's pretty young. Okay, so he probably enjoyed Sarasota more in the glory days. Okay, sounds good, man. Like I've never seen Shamrock's European fan palm produce seed in Florida. I think it's because of the humidity. I'm not sure. People don't really try to get seed from them, so. Okay, flower in a month. And those things like high heat too. They grow in this northern Africa, southern France. It gets up there at temps. People when they're driving, please just keep the green for me. Best place in South Florida, and now what do you consider South Florida? Do you consider where I live South Florida, or are you talking about like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, like Cape Bassa, Florida? Sprouted seedlings. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that will grow. I mean, I sell some stuff on eBay. I just sell overstock of seed there, so. What does that sign say? Yard sale. Oh, Circlewood Community. And there's an arrow pointing the other way from Circlewood, which is weird. Yeah, the thing about Homestead is it is kind of a quieter community, but Homestead's actually not as nearly as warm as Miami. Homestead probably has the same climate as like really warm air, like warmer parts of Cape Coral and Fort Myers. You're better off going to Pine Island and buying land there. It's cheaper, it's less populated, and just as warm. What? I just got sent a text from her. Land liquidation in Asheville. I'm not moving to Asheville. Would I ever go to Cuba? Yeah, I would go if I knew that, like, if I had a medical, like, emergency, like, I could get treatment. But to buy 100 acres on Pine Island, I've heard people buying 20 and 40. It's possible to buy 100, like, in a couple pieces, but 100 acres is yeah, it's a lot of land. In Florida, it's extreme amount of maintenance. Only buy what you need, I'll tell you that. Like 20 acres is a large plot of land, even in more like you'll see 100-acre plots in the middle of the state. By the coast, I mean, in the Miami area, it's virtually unheard of when they do exist. But I'm sure there's some that do exist, but those plots end up getting used for development, and so they can get a high price. I know in Tennessee it's not nearly as, but usually in Florida when they sell the acreage, like it's 100% usable. Where in Tennessee, like you could be talking about like rolling hills, and like 20% of it could be hillsides. And I've lived in areas where 100 acres wasn't a big deal. You realize that Florida is the third most populous state in the nation. Not that that really matters, but the population density is like 367 a square mile, which isn't too high. I mean, it's higher than the nation's average. But do I know Spanish? Florida still has rural areas. Yeah, super cool, bros. I'm gonna be heading out in just a minute, but yeah, let me answer these questions. There's a lot of people in Miami that do not speak any English. Yes, you're gonna cut me off, you fucking ass. Why do you do that? The slow cutting off. If you're gonna do it again, I swear to God, you do it again, you're dead. Yeah, you cut me off once. What was the point of that, you dumb bitch? Anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of people in Miami that don't speak any English. There's some people that don't speak any Spanish or English. There's still many rural areas in Florida, but they're very hot and swampy. To get like prime land that isn't like mosquito infested is, very hard to find. It's very expensive too. So, but I'm gonna get going now, guys, because I am. Where do I? No, you can go to Miami. It's fine, especially if you're going to Miami Beach. Like, there's very little Spanish spoken there. But if you're gonna go to suburban Miami, then the primary language you're going to hear is Spanish. They do speak English. If you go to a store, you can order things in English. There are some like smaller restaurants that will not have anyone that speaks really much English, so you kind of have to like learn a little bit of Spanish, but it's not that bad. But yeah, guys, I'll be back in a second. I'm just rolling up to my sister's, and I'm sorry, I'll be back after I go visit my mom. I need to talk to my sister about the whole car situation, pick up a couple things. I do not know any Czech people here. I know Russians and Ukrainians, so. Is there nobody here? There's no one here. Oh, that's digging out the ditch here? Who's doing that? That must have been the county. Alright, guys. Yeah, there's some European restaurants there, but not a ton of Asians, but they're around. I really got to use the bathroom, so I'll be back on later though, probably like 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. All right, guys, talk to you soon.